I'm doing the AAAS Mass Media Fellowship, and I really want to share my journey learning to become a science communicator. Why did I apply for the AAAS Mass Media Fellowship in the first place, and why might you also want to do the same thing? Well, the short answer is that I realized that I want to become a science communicator, and this seemed like the best next step for me while I'm still working on my PhD. But the long answer starts way before I came to this realization. As a kid, I loved books about books, things like Shadow of the Wind, Inkspell, and School Story, just to name a few. And reading these books about publishing and the writing industry kind of made me want to become an editor, which is a weird dream for a kid to have, but I guess I was a weird kid. This dream didn't really manifest in any formal writing kinds of classes until I took a journalism class all the way in my PhD, but more on that later. But it did lead me to discover Scientific American Mind because I always loved learning and learning about the brain and neuroscience and how all of this research is maybe being applied to our actual lives. I also found a whole bunch of writing on education journalism and policy, but then I started to realize that there wasn't a huge connection between education research and policy. This gap became even more apparent in college, where I majored in cognitive science and got really involved in psychology research. I ended up doing an internship in education technology. There wasn't a whole lot of communication happening between the research side and the practice side, and I realized that maybe I needed to fill that gap. Wanting to fill this gap between research and practice, and this thought in the back of my head that, oh yeah, professors can become editors of journals and write things for the public, fueled my desire to go get a PhD. So how did I get from this dream of becoming an editor to this dream of becoming a science communicator? It had a lot of highs and lows, so buckle in, it's about to be a bumpy ride. I got my first glimpse of what it would be like to be a science communicator in a class that I took through my school's journalism program. I took a science writing class designed specifically for PhD students to communicate about their research to the public. We had guest speakers talk about how they ended up as science journalists, and we got to write our very own piece and get it edited by real editors. It was really fun and it was a really great experience, but at the end of the class, I still didn't feel confident enough to pitch my own ideas to real articles and kind of start my journey as a science communicator. I also really had to dedicate most of my time to preparing for my qualifying project, which is a big milestone in a PhD program that allows you to keep continuing on and to do your dissertation. If you've watched the video about why I started this channel, you'll probably know that I was really struggling with staying motivated during my qualifying project. I was doing a lot of productive procrastination, is what I like to call it. This productive procrastination turned into me starting my own Science of Disney blog and Instagram account. And I fell in love with it. I really loved the writing of it and connecting with Disney fans and scientists alike and just really developing a community. And that community ended up kind of saving me a little bit later on. After I passed my qualifying project, which was a great relief, things didn't get a whole lot better. My enthusiasm for research didn't really increase afterwards. I entered a third-year slump. I had a hard time deciding what kind of research questions I wanted to pursue. It felt like what I was doing before was a little stale and I didn't feel like I could contribute in any really novel way. But I also didn't know what else there was that I could do. I had too many ideas and too many things that I was passionate about, and I had to pick one. That's an impossible question. At the same time that I was trying to narrow down my research question from all the infinite possibilities, I was also serving as a graduate student representative on a hiring committee that was trying to find a new professor. For this role, I had to read through dozens and dozens of CVs or academic resumes, and I was just feeling like a huge imposter. Everyone's application that I was reading, they had these awesome research projects and partnerships and publications, and I realized that that's not what I wanted, that's not what I wanted to be known for, and I was kind of having a mid-PhD crisis of like, why should I even be getting my PhD? Do I need it? What jobs do I want to do? I found myself regularly looking for jobs in a ton of different fields just to try and figure out what could I do with this PhD, which is probably something I should have figured out before I even started my PhD. I was looking in education technology, like the internship that I had in college. I was looking in science communication because of the Science of Disney Instagram and blog that I had started and had a ton of fun doing. I even looked at jobs teaching English abroad for Disney, which in general, teaching English abroad needs a lot more learning sciences kinds of research behind it, but that didn't seem like the best fit either. All of the jobs that sounded super interesting either didn't require a PhD or didn't even want anyone with a PhD. So I considered quitting my PhD a lot, like every day, and it was really not great for my mental health. Instead of quitting, I convinced myself that what I really needed was more of a taste of what it would be like to work in industry, in education technology, with like a 9-to-5 job and an actual schedule and with a team, because that's not the kind of job that I was doing in my PhD. I reached out to friends and friends of friends who had earned their PhDs and then gone into industry, and I just asked them about their jobs, whether they liked it, how it was different, and that gave me a little bit of hope. I ended up reaching out to the boss that I had had at my internship in college, and she was able to give me a job over the summer working on a research project in her new company in education technology with a different age group than I was used to working with, which I thought would make me a lot more qualified for more jobs in the future. Working on this 3-month research project, I got to work and collaborate with researchers that had earned their PhDs but were in education technology, making a product and trying to make it better. But I realized that that still wasn't the job for me. I love doing my science communication on the side even more than I liked this job. And that's when I realized that I wanted to be a science communicator, and that would give me the most joy. I didn't want to be a professor. I didn't want to be an educational technology researcher or designer. I really wanted to write about other people's research and teach myself something new every single day. So that's why I applied for the AAAS Mass Media Fellowship. Have you ever considered a career in science journalism, or are you a science journalist now? I want to hear about it in the comments below. If you have any other questions about my PhD journey thus far, or you want to talk about mental health in graduate school, I am definitely open to talking about it. That's all I have for you today. Keep on sciencing, and I will see you real soon.